Welcome to the Madison Miller podcast. Today is Monday, November 10th, 2025. Recording from a different location today. Um, NFL, college football, NBA, NHL, college basketball, golf. On this day, predictions for the rookies of the year in the American and National Leagues. That's going to be announced tonight. News and notes and best bet. We'll begin with the NFL. Interesting results, of course, and then we'll look ahead to a really big time NFL Monday Night Football game for tonight. Um, just bear with me 1 second here. All right, Sunday. Bears over the Giants 24-20. From Berlin, Colts over the Falcons 31-25 in overtime. Jets over the Browns 27-20. Texans over the Jaguars 36-29. Dolphins over the Bills 30-13. Patriots over the Buccaneers 28-23. Ravens over the Vikings 27-19. Saints over the Panthers 17-7. Seahawks over the Cardinals 44-22. Lions over the Commanders 44-22. How ironic, same final score there. Rams over the 49ers 42-26. That was almost the same score. That's so funny. And the Chargers beat the Steelers 25-10. Tonight, big time Monday night game, 8:15 on ESPN and ABC. Eagles Packers. My line's Packers only by a half, total 47 and 17-20. It's no Tucker Kraft for the rest of the year. The Eagles have Jalen Phillips on their defense now. I believe Jaden Reed's still out, and Cam Jurgens on the Phillies out. So there's their injuries, and of course it's Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and Lisa Salters on the call. And the line's Green Bay 1.5, total 45.5. I'm gonna go with the over. I think that number's low, even though there are some injuries. So I do like the over in that game. Okay, now we'll talk college football. We'll go over results from the weekend. There are some interesting ones there as well. We'll begin with Friday night. Number 19 USC over Northwestern 38-17. Houston over UCF 30-27. Tulane over Memphis 38-32. Saturday, number 1 Ohio State over Purdue 34-10. Number 2 Indiana over Penn State 27-24. Number 3 Texas A&M over number 22 Missouri 38-17. Number 4 Alabama over LSU 20-9. Number 5 Georgia over Mississippi State 41-21. Number 6 Ole Miss over the Citadel 49-0. Number 8 Texas Tech over number 7 BYU 29-7. Number 9 Oregon over number 20 Iowa 18-16. Number 10 Notre Dame over Navy 49-10. Wake over number 14 Virginia 16-9. Cal over number 15 Louisville 29-26 in overtime. Number 16 Vandy over Auburn 45-38 in OT. Number 18 Miami over Syracuse 38-10. Miami had like 3 wins yesterday because with Louisville and Virginia both getting upset and them winning, they're back in the mix for the college football playoff. Wisconsin over number 23 Washington 13-10. SMU over Boston College 45-13. West Virginia over Colorado 29-22. James Madison over Marshall 35-23. Southern Miss over Arkansas State 27-21. Army over Temple 14-13. Missouri State over Liberty 21-17. Eastern Michigan over Bowling Green 27-21. Rice over UAB 24-17. Rutgers over Maryland 35-20. Delaware over Louisiana Tech 25-24. FIU over Middle Tennessee 56-30. Jacksonville State over UTEP 30-27. East Carolina over Charlotte 48-22. FAU over Tulsa 40-21. UConn over Duke 37-34. Arizona over Kansas 24-20. Iowa State over TCU 20-17. Kennesaw State over New Mexico State 24-21. Coastal over Georgia State 40-27. North Carolina over Stanford 20-15. Louisiana over Texas State 42-39. Air Force over San Jose State 26-16. Clemson over Florida State 24-10. Kentucky over Florida 38-7. Wow. Utah State over Nevada 51-14. Nebraska over UCLA 28-21. UNLV over Colorado State 42-10. Sam Houston over Oregon State 21-17. And Hawaii over San Diego State 38-6. Okay, now move on to the NBA. We'll go over the results from the weekend. and look ahead to tonight, which is a pretty busy window. All right, we'll begin with Friday night. NBA Cup group play: Magic over the Celtics 143-110, Cavs over the Wizards 148-115, Raptors over the Hawks 109-97, Pistons over the Nets 125-107, Spurs over the Rockets 121-110, Heat over the Hornets 126-108, Grizzlies over the Mavs 118-104, Bucks over the Bulls 126-110, T-Wolves over the Jazz 137-97, Nuggets over the Warriors 129-104, and the Thunder over the Kings 132-101. Saturday, Mavs over the Wizards 111-105, Sixers over the Raptors 130-120, Hawks over the Lakers 122-102, Cavs over the Bulls 128-122, Heat over the Blazers 136-131, Spurs over the Pelicans 126-119, Nuggets over the Pacers 117-100, Suns over the Clippers 114-103. Sunday. Why aren't these games loading? There we go. Rockets over the Bucks 122-115. Celtics over the Magic 111-107. Knicks over the Nets 134-98. Thunder over the Grizzlies 114-100. Pistons over the Sixers 111-108. Warriors over the Pacers 114-83. And the T-Wolves over the Kings 144-117. All right, tonight 7 o'clock you have the Lakers and the Hornets. My line is the Lakers by 5.25. A lot of injuries in this game. LaMelo, Brandon Miller, and LeBron. Lakers are 7.5 total to 30.5. I'm going to take Charlotte getting 7 in the hook. Peacock, Wizards, Pistons. My line is the Pistons by a whopping 15, and it's 12 and 235.5. I'll lay the points. Blazers, Magic. My line's Magic by 8, and it's 2.5 total to 35.5. Why is it that low? Like, is the market catching up to maybe they know something? Is Paulo hurt, and I just don't know? I'm laying the 2.5. That is way too low. 7:30 Cavs Heat. The LeBron Bowl. I have Cavs by 8, and it's 7.5 total 247.5. Oh my God, that's a ridiculous little under. Not Miami without Bam and Harrow. No way. Spurs Bulls at 8 o'clock. My line is the Spurs by 1 3/4, and it's 4 and 237.5. I can't believe the Spurs are that big of a favorite. I know Bulls have some injuries, but I like the Bulls getting the 4. I don't know if they'll win outright, but it'll be close. 8:30 Bucks Mavs. My line is the Mavs by 1 1/4, and it's 2 in favor of Milwaukee. Total 230.5. I'll take the Mavs plus the 2 and plus 108 outright. 9 o'clock Pelicans Suns. I have the Suns by 6 1/4, and it's 8.5 total 225.5. I'll take New Orleans getting the 8 in the hook. Timberwolves Jazz. My line is the Jazz by 8 1/4. Or I'm sorry, Minnesota by 8 1/4, and it's 8 and 234.5. I read that wrong. I'm sorry, guys. I'm over. And last but not least, 10:30 NBA TV. Hawks Clippers. My line is the Clippers by 2 1/4, and it's 5 and 220.5. I'll take the Hawks getting the 5. Maybe they think Jalen Johnson's out. Oh, there's only one game on Peacock tonight. That's weird. Okay, now move on to hockey. We'll go over the results from the weekend and look ahead to tonight. We'll begin with Friday night. Islanders over the Wild Wild over the Islanders 5-2. Rangers over the Red Wings 4-1. Blackhawks over the Flames 4-0. Sharks over the Jets 2-1. Saturday, Devils over the Penguins 2-1 shootout. Sens over the Flyers 3-2 OT. Stars over the Preds 5-4. Bruins over the Leafs 5-3. Isles over the Rangers 5-0. They lose again at home. Habs over the Mammoth 6-2. Lightning over the Caps 3-2. Sabres lose at Carolina 6-3. Kraken over the Blues 4-3 in OT. Avs over the Oilers 9-1. Canucks over the Blue Jackets 4-3. Ducks over the Golden Knights 4-3 OT. And the Sharks over the Panthers 3-1. Sunday, Blackhawks over the Red Wings 5-1. Kings over the Pens 3-2. Canes over the Leafs 5-4. Sens over the Mammoth 4-2. Stars over the Kraken 2-1. Wild over the Flames 2-0. Avs over the Canucks 5-4 in OT. And the Ducks over the Jets 4-1. All right, 7 o'clock tonight. Only 4 games tonight. Preds Rangers. Will they finally fucking win a home game? I'm not picking them in a home game until they win a home game. They're minus 192. They're almost 2-1 to win. They were a bigger favorite, and they lost to San Jose. Granted, that was overtime, but still. The Rangers are minus 192. Preds are plus 158. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 118. Unders minus 104. Preds plus 1.5 is minus 160. Rangers minus 1.5 plus 130. This is a goalie game. This is Shesterkin, and this is Saros under 5.5 minus 104. And what's the Rangers in regulation? Minus 125. My God. The market continues to overinflate the Rangers. I know they're 500, but all their wins have come on the road, and they only scored like 2 goals at home all year. Well, really, like 6, but 5 of them came against a terrible Sharks team. It's just pathetic. Isles, Devils. Devils minus 158. Isles plus 130. Over under 6.5. Overs plus 104. Unders minus 128. Isles plus 1.5 is minus 188. Devils minus 1.5 plus 152. This is an interesting one. I'm going to go over 5.5 at plus 104. 8:30 Jackets Oilers. Oilers minus 170. Jackets plus 140. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 122. Unders even money. Jackets plus 1.5 is minus 170. Oilers minus 1.5 plus 138. I think there's value on Columbus. That's going to be my upset special tonight. Plus 140. And at 10 o'clock, Panthers Golden Knights. Vegas minus 137. Panthers plus 114. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 130. Unders plus 106. Panthers plus 1.5 is minus 220. Vegas minus 1.5 plus 176. I'm going to take the under at plus 106. Okay, now I'm going to do college basketball. We'll go over the results from the weekend, and we'll look ahead to tonight. All right, Friday. Columbia over New Haven, 71-53. SIU Edwards over UTSA, 77-60. Northeastern over Colgate, 68-65. Liberty over Charleston, 90-75. Northwestern over BU, 76-52. Georgetown over Maryland, 70-60. Tulsa over Rhode Island, 82-65. Buffalo over Green Bay, 83-76. Ohio State over Purdue Fort Wayne, 94-68. Number 1 Purdue over Oakland, 87-77. Number 9 Kentucky over Valpo, 107-59. Number 25 North Carolina over number 19 Kansas, 87-74. Florida State over Alabama State, 101-64. George Mason over Winthrop, 96-90. That's like an NBA score. Troy over Furman, 64-61. Iona over Hofstra, 81-73. Davidson over Wazoo, 85-69. Iowa over Western Illinois, 77-58. Kent State over Cornell, 110-102. That's another NBA score. Charlotte over Tennessee Tech, 70-65. Cincinnati over Georgia State, 74-64. Siena over Brown, 62-46. Wake over Morehead State, 81-65. Virginia over NC Central, 81-62. Pitt over Longwood, 78-60. Notre Dame over Detroit Mercy, 102-60. Duquesne over Sacred Heart, 92-80. Clemson over Gardner Webb, 97-59. Penn over Rowan, 119-72. Bucknell over Mount St. Mary, 73-62. Number 4 UConn over UMass Lowell, 110-47. Ole Miss over Real Monroe, 86-65. Seton Hall over Wagner, 68-61. Georgia Tech over Bryant, 74-45. Number 10 Texas Tech over Sam Houston, 99-77. Missouri over Southeast Missouri, 89-84. Southern Illinois over Kansas City, 101-78. Murray State over Miss Valley State, 108-60. DePaul over Stonehill, 72-64. Utah State over VCU, 80-77. Eastern Illinois over Nichols, 65-57. Number 17 Illinois over Florida Gulf Coast, 113-70. Number 20 Wisconsin over Northern Illinois, 97-72. Sanford over SD State, 82-72. VMI over Southern Indiana, 78-74. Louisiana over Southeast Louisiana, 58-52. Number 13 Arizona over Utah Tech, 93-67. Idaho State over San Diego, 71-68. Youngstown State over Grand Canyon, 90-81. Yale over Navy, 97-68. NC State over UAB, 94-70. Oregon over Rice, 67-63. Santa Clara over McNeese, 79-67. Oregon State over UIC, 76-73. Number 12 UCLA over Pepperdine, 74-63. St. Mary's over Chattanooga, 87-66. And Cal Baptist over UC Irvine 69-61. Saturday. Oh boy. Number 15 Alabama over number 5 St. John's 103-96. Minnesota over Alcorn State 95-50. Akron over Princeton 104-69. Kennesaw State over Florida A&M 92-72. Penn State over New Haven 87-43. Nebraska over FIU 96-66. St. Joe's over Drexel 76-65. Syracuse over Delaware State 83-43. Number 6 Duke over West Carolina 95-54. George Washington over South Florida 99-95. Tulane over Texas State 79-71. Marshall over Toledo 85-73. Fairfield over NJIT 74-53. Wofford over Milwaukee 86-76. Dayton over UMBC 77-71. Niagara over Binghamton 67-59. St. Peter's over Fairleigh Dickinson 93-83. Number 2 Houston over Towson 65-48. Number 18 Tennessee over Northern Kentucky 95-56. Georgia Southern over UNC Asheville 93-90. Texas over Lafayette 97-60. Memphis over San Francisco 76-70. LaSalle over Monmouth 73-60. Santa Barbara over San Jose State 85-74. Elon over UNC Greensboro 92-90 in OT. William & Mary over Norfolk State 81-78. Vandy over UCF 105-93. New Mexico over Texas Arlington 74-56. Boise State over Utah Valley 101-77. Wyoming over Fullerton 92-82. Austin Peay over Air Force 74-54. Colorado over Eastern Washington 102-97. Stanford over Montana 91-68. St. Bonaventure over Canisius 89-70. Virginia Tech over Providence 107-101 in OT. Fresno State over Long Beach State 82-62. Butler over IU-Indy 112-80. Stony Brook over Maine 71-60. UMass over UAlbany 83-62. FA over Charleston 94-77. Presbyterian over East Tennessee State 68-64. Richmond over East Carolina 87-72. Number 22 Michigan State over number 14 Arkansas 69-66. Wichita State over Prairie 105-62. Villanova over Queens 94-74. Tarleton State over A&M Corpus Christi 85-77. Utah over Weber State 92-89 in overtime. St. Thomas over Army 83-76. Bradley over Central Michigan 85-54. Kansas State over Bellarmine 98-71. Belmont over Tennessee State 87-75. Texas Rio Grande over Southern Utah 95-72. Number 8 BYU over Holy Cross 98-53. Loyola Marymount over Arkansas Pine Bluff 94-72. UNLV over Chattanooga 101-69. UC San Diego over Houston Christian 78-60. Cal Poly over Seattle 73-71. Nevada over Pacific 78-77. Number 21 Gonzaga over Oklahoma 83-68. Sunday, Harvard over New Hampshire 86-75. Campbell over Western Michigan 91-82. App State over NC Central 76-54. Indiana over Marquette 177. James Madison over Coppin State 84-70. American over Penn 84-78. Georgia over Morehead State 120-81. Mercer over Lipscomb 92-77. Bowling Green over Lemoyne 83-60. Cal State Northridge over North Dakota 93-85. Northern Iowa over South Dakota State 65-58. Vermont over Brown 89-84 in OT, double OT. Marist over Dartmouth 75-56. Oklahoma State over A&M 87-63. Illinois State over Cornell 76-65. Denver over Montana State 75-73. West Virginia over Lehigh 69-47. Arizona State over Utah Tech 81-66. Missouri over VMI 106-68. North Texas over Loyola Chicago 64-62. Portland over UC Davis 67-63. San Diego State over Idaho State 73-57. Grambling over Howard 73-70. Liberty over Florida Atlantic 88-68. USC over Manhattan 114-83. Colorado State over Omaha 97-74. South Carolina over Southern Miss 83-79 OT. Baylor over Washington 78-69. And Hawaii over East Texas A&M 100-74. Okay, we have a lot of non-D1 versus D1s going on now, but they are irrelevant. 6 o'clock tonight. We have New Haven and UMass Lowell. Mine's UMass Lowell by 25.5, and it is 10.5 total, 144.5. I'll lay the points. 6:30 Fox Sports 1, Columbia, number 4, UConn. Mine's UConn by a whopping 41. It's 33.5 total, 155.5. I'll lay the points. All right, next up from Jersey on the Big Ten Network, Maine Rutgers. My line is Rutgers 11.5. And it's 17.5 total, 129.5. I'll take Maine in the points. Delaware State, Niagara. Mine's Niagara by a half, and it's 5.5, 137.5. I'll take Delaware State in the points. 7 o'clock, Indiana State and SIU. Edwardsville 4.5. And it's 1.5 total, 157.5. I'll lay it with Edwardsville. SC State and NC18. My line's SC State by 6.5, and it is NC18 1.5 total, 159.5. I'll take SC State plus 1.5 and plus 106 outright. Presbyterian Georgia State. My line is Presbyterian by a half, and it's Georgia State 2.5 total, 149.5. I'll take Presbyterian plus the points and plus 126 outright. Western Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky. I have Eastern by 5. And it is 1.5 total, 164.5. I'll lay it with Eastern. Fairfield, Seton Hall. I have Seton Hall by 24. And it's 12.5 total, 136.5. I'll lay it with Seton Hall. UNC, Wilmington, Kent State. I have Wilmington 2.5. And it is Kent State 2.5 total, 159.5. I'll take Wilmington plus 2.5 and plus 126 to win. Charleston Southern, the Citadel. My line is Charleston Southern 4.5, and it's 3.5 total, 145.5. I'll go over. Eastern Michigan, Pitt. My line's Pitt 21. It's 16.5 total, 142.5. I'll lay it. Stetson, Miami on the ACC Network. Mine's Miami by 30, and it's 33.5 total, 162.5. I'll take Stetson plus 33.5. All right, game of the night. 8 o'clock ESPNU, Mississippi State number 16, Iowa State. Mine's Iowa State by 2. And I mean game of the night in this sport. And this is 8 o'clock. Yeah, 5.5 total, 159. I'll take the Bulldogs plus 5.5. I think that's a little high. Little Rock, Milwaukee. I have Milwaukee by 2. And it's 3.5 total, 158.5. I'll go over. Lindenwood, St. Louis. My line is St. Louis by 11. It's 24.5 total, 165.5. I'll take the points with Lindenwood. Lamar, TCU, my line, TCU 22.5. And it's 19.5 total, 148.5. I'll lay it with TCU. New Orleans, LSU, my line is LSU 27.5. And it's 18.5 total, 160.5. I'll lay it with the Tigers. Cleveland State, Northwestern, 8:30, Big Ten Network. Mine's Northwestern by a whopping 27. And it's 47. It's 22.5 total, 148.5. I'll lay it with Northwestern. Fox Sports 1, Santa Clara, Xavier. Xavier 2.5, and it's 3.5 total, 155.5. I'll go with the under. I think that's low for a team like Xavier and their reputation. Northern Illinois and Grand Canyon at 9. Mine's Grand Canyon by a whopping 29.5. And it's 20.5 total, 164.5. I'll lay it with Grand Canyon. Holy Cross, Utah. My line's Utah 27. It's 21.5 total, 155.5. I'll lay with Utah. ACC Network, Southeast Louisiana, and Georgia Tech. I have Tech 29.5. It's 15.5 total, 134.5. I'll lay it with Georgia Tech. 9:30, St. Thomas, Wazoo. I have Pick'em. And it's Wazoo 2.5 total, 158.5. I'll take St. Thomas plus 2.5. I don't think they win, though. I think Wazoo by 1 or 2, or St. Thomas wins, I guess, whatever. 10 o'clock, West Georgia, number 12, UCLA. I have UCLA by 49. And it's 33.5 total, 148.5. I'll lay with UCLA. And last but not least, Cal State Fullerton and Cal. Mine's Cal 27. It's 23.5 total, 158.5. I'll lay the points with Cal. Okay, now we'll move on to golf. We'll look at the results from the WWT Championship. Your winner, 29 under, Benjamin Griffin. Tied for second, 27 under, Sammy Valimaki, Chad Ramey. Tied for fourth, 26 under, Grayson Higo, Trevor Cohn. Tied for sixth, 25 under, Patrick Rogers and Carson Young. Tied for eighth with 24 under, Matthias Schmidt and Nick Dunlap. 10th with 23 under, Eric Cole. I'm going to do notables the rest of the way because of time. Tied for 11th, 22 under, Matt Kuchar, JJ Spawn. Tied for 14th with 21 under, the journalist and Nicholas Echevarria. 16th with 20 under, Jeremy Paul. Tied for 17th with 19 under, Vincent Webeyo Hostler. Tied for 21st with 18 under, Victor Perez, Ben Silverman, Adam Svebson, Rico Hoey. Tied for 27th with 17 under, Kevin Ventura, Francesco Molinari, Seamus Power, Will Chandler. Tied for 31st with 16 under, Doug In, Pat Kazir, Matt Wallace, David Lipsky, Pearson Coody. Tied for 40th with 15 under, Adam Putnam, Lucas Hodges, Joel Dahman, Rio Hisatune. Tied for 46 with 14 under, Jacob Bridgman, Grayson Sieg. Tied for 53rd with 13 under, Adam Hadwin, Stephen Fisk. Tied for 56th with 12 under, Emiliano Grillo, Max McGreevy, Hayden Buckley. Tied for 59th with 11 under, Austin Eckroat, Zach Blair. 62nd, 10 under, Max Grieserman. Tied for 63rd with 9 under, Will Gordon, Ben Coles, Keith Mitchell. Tied for 69th with 8 under, Adam Schenk. 71st with 7 under, Kevin Stroman. 75th with 2 over, Luke List. Among those cut, Paul Fishburne, Davis Riley, Harry Springer, Brant Snecker, Mark Hubbard, Lucas Donald, Ryan Palmer, Nate Taylor, Henrik Norlander, Mackenzie Hughes, Joseph Highsmith, Kevin Roy, Kevin Yu, Stefan Yeager, Evan Van Roy, and Harry Higgs, Sam Ryder, Camilo Vegas withdrew. All right, next PGA event this upcoming weekend, the Butterfield Bermuda Championship from Port Royal in Bermuda. So we have golf coming up this weekend as well. Okay, now we'll do on this day. We're going to do Saturday, Sunday, and today. We'll do today, assuming today's up. It should be by now. But we will begin with Saturday, brought to you by All Sports News. Oh, no, we don't have today's yet. So, November 8th, which was Saturday. All right, 2014, Texas A&M upsets number 3, Auburn. So that was Kyle Allen in that team. And Auburn was in the college football playoff mix that year. 2015, Antonio Brown totals 284 yards. That was against the Raiders. 2023, the Angels hire Ron Washington as manager. 2021, Texas Tech hires Joey McGuire. 2019, James Weissman ruled ineligible by NCAA. I remember that was a whole saga. 2024, Cavaliers start 10-0. I remember that. That was just last year. 2021, Scott Frost returning Nebraska for 2022. That's funny. And then obviously they got rid of him and hired Matt Rule. 2012, Rockies hire Walt Weiss. Walt Weiss was there for a while. 2013, Panthers fire Kevin Dineen. I really don't remember Kevin Dineen all that much. 2020, Dalvin Cook totals 252 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Vikings. 2017, Sam Bradford placed on IR. And then who took over for him? Was it Case Keenum? And then they ended up, that was the Case Keenum year. And 2021, Pedro Feliciano passes away. And then on this day yesterday, November 9th. 2018, Joe Mauer retires, former Twins great. 2012, Lakers fire Mike Brown. That was a big deal. And everybody and their mother thought they were going to hire Phil Jackson. Then they hired Mike D'Antoni. And that season fell apart. 2017, Richard Sherman tears his Achilles. That was just a brutal injury for him. 2014, Aaron Rodgers throws 6 touchdowns in the first half. That was against the Bears. 2017, Ezekiel Elliott's suspension reinstated again. I remember when he got suspended. There's the second year in the league. 2019, number 2 LSU defeats number 3 Alabama. So that was Joe Burrow against Tua Tagovailoa, and Burrow came out on top. 2022, the Nets hired Jack Vaughn after they fired Steve Nash. 2020, Devin Williams named NL Rookie of the Year. 2020, Kyle Lewis named AL Rookie of the Year. I don't think Kyle Lewis is still in the league. Like, how sad is that? Yeah, he turned out to be a bust. He won Rookie of the Year, but he was a bust. Yeah, that's rare. You don't see that very often. 2024, Dak Prescott likely out for the season. That was just last year. 2017, Colts release Vontae Davis. In 2014, Marshawn Lynch scores 4 touchdowns against the Giants. Yeah, I just did a refresher, but we don't have the one for today. Well, I guess we'll do that tomorrow. Okay, real quick, I want to make predictions who's going to win the Rookies of the Year. That's going to be announced tonight on MLB Network, 7 o'clock. So the AL Rookie of the Year, the finalists are Nick Kurtz, Jacob Wilson, and Roman Anthony. I think Nick Kurtz is going to come in first. I know some are going to be like, oh, well, he's going to win it because he had a 4-homer game. Well, he had big numbers. And he looks like a franchise player on a team that is desperate for a franchise player and hasn't really had one since they had Matt Chapman and Matt Olson. And then they traded him in the same offseason. So Nick Kurtz is going to win. I think Jacob Wilson will come in second. And Roman Anthony's going to come in third. But to be fair, if Roman Anthony was healthy the whole season, he probably wins because the Red Sox obviously made the playoffs. But Roman Anthony only played for like a month. And he's in there because he's a Red Sox. But it was weird because Gary Sanchez won the AL Rookie of the Year and only played like 45 games. But he had like 20 home runs in those games. So, and he was a catcher. So, Roman Anthony could be this year's Gary Sanchez, but an injury ended his season, so that's not really fair. And listen, if he wins, it's blatant favoritism towards big market Red Sox rather than little market Athletics. So I'm going to say Kurtz, Wilson, Anthony in order, but I don't think Roman Anthony should have even been a candidate to begin with because he got injured. They should do a rule like the NBA does with the awards and the number of games played. I think you have to play 75% of your games to win an award, personally. National League Rookie of the Year, we have Drake Baldwin of the Braves, Caleb Duran of the Brewers, and Cade Horton of the Cubs. I think Cade Horton is going to win. I think pitchers are a big deal when it comes to this award. I think he looks like a future top of the rotation guy for the Cubs, and I think they could have beaten the Brewers if he was healthy. So, I think Cade Horton won. I'd put Drake Baldwin 2 because the Braves have yet another building block for the future of their team, and he gives them flexibility going forward in case they want to move on from somebody like a Marcelo Zuna or somebody like that. And then Caleb Durbin 3rd. And the fact that he's a Rookie of the Year finalist makes that trade bad, like disastrously bad for the Yankees. The fact that he's top 3 for Rookie of the Year and Devin Williams was a complete disaster, and the reason they didn't win the division other than Cole being hurt, and he's going to be on another team next year because he's a free agent. So that was just a terrible trade for the Yankees altogether. And Milwaukee, I think, clearly won that trade because of Durbin, although they did get rid of Cortez at the deadline. So, I think Durbin comes in 3rd. So, again, Horton, Baldwin, Durbin. All right, last but not least, news and notes. I'm not doing best bet because I'm not in a state that allows betting, or I should say sports betting. So news and notes. So Torian Prince out significant time as he sustained a herniated disc in his neck. That's not good for the Bucks. Jalen Green exited the game early after re-injuring the hamstring. He's out tonight, by the way. So the Giants are operating as normal. Nothing out of the ordinary in East Rutherford today after the latest meltdown against the Bears, with Jackson Dart going to the locker room with the concussion. And that's just brutal. And it was a snow game too, and I think nobody in the league's seat is hotter than Brian Daboll. I haven't seen him. I mean, it's strong to say that he's quit, but I think he knows he's done, and I think he's sabotaging them because he knows he's done, and he's gonna be like, yeah, good luck. I'm not saying, like, to me, it's not Dayball's fault that Dart got concussed, but at the same time, it is because he needs to learn how to play better, and that's coaching. That's the same thing happened with Drake May last year at Gerard Mayo. Not that Gerard Mayo is a better coach than Dayball. Dayball is a much better coach than Gerard Mayo was, because Gerard Mayo was one and done for a reason. He was the worst coach I've seen in the last 5 years. Like, period. I was saying that about Gerard Mayo. But that, like, Dart this year reminds me of Drake May last year, and I think maybe next year the Giants could be next year's Patriots. And everyone's going to point to that. Because of Neighbors coming back, and Scatterbo coming back, and probably a new coach. And honestly, if they choose to get rid of Dayball, which at this point I'm probably in favor of with how the season's gone and all these blown leads, despite Russell Wilson being the quarterback for a couple of those games. I think that if a good team fires its coach for whatever reason, like Kyle Shanahan or Jim Harbaugh or somebody like that gets let go, or maybe there's dysfunction with the Rams that we don't know about with McVay, then that's your direction you go in. Like, Zach Taylor, give me a break. No thanks. I mean, I wouldn't mind Kevin Stefanski if he gets fired. Like, I wouldn't mind the Giants hiring him, because it's not his fault that the Browns are so bad. And I think he's gotten a free pass year after year because of the organization. And he's well liked around the league, and he's a better coach than Brian Daboll. So I wouldn't mind Kevin Stefanski, as long as he brings in good coordinators. And then maybe if Minnesota falls apart and Kevin O'Connell's available, hell yeah, I would take him too. Although he has a lot of Dayball comps. And Mike McDaniel, no thank you. He's DJ Mike for a reason. But yeah, although his team's playing for him right now. Like, they won 2 of their last 3 games and could have, and they were competitive with the Bills the first time they played him. So I guess that team deserves credit in some way. I'm trying to think of who else could be available that I'd be like, hey, I'd take them. But yeah, John Harbaugh, Kyle Shanahan. Shanahan's number 1. John Harbaugh's 2. I mean, I don't think Tomlin's going to get let go. Oh my God, if he gets let go, he's automatically my number 1. Or McVay. Like, get somebody big time. Not Bill Belichick, because he's washed. But I'm very interested to see for sure. Speaking of Mike McDaniel, he took a victory lap after blowing out the Bills, and he was trolling fans. Max Scherzer linked to the San Francisco Giants. Returns to the Jays might be an option too. I mean, the Giants are just living in the past, as they always do, meaning the San Francisco Giants. Tatsuyama Amai to be posted this offseason, 1.92 ERA in the NPB League last year. he could get between 80 and 200 million. This is a guy that screams New York Mets. Go get him, Mets. Like, you need pitching in the worst freaking way, and that should be a guy you're looking at. Jackson Powers Johnson could miss the rest of the season, ankle injury. He's on IR. Darius Slay got ruled out with a concussion against the Chargers last night. Devontae Adams left due to an oblique injury. Brock Purdy is further along than he was in week 4. And now everyone's talking about a quarterback controversy in San Francisco because of how well Mac Jones has played. And they didn't lose that game yesterday because of him. They lost that game because of their defense and the injuries. So that wasn't Mac Jones' fault. Dalton Kincaid got ruled out against the Dolphins, hamstring injury. D. Alford, concussion against the Colts in the morning yesterday in Germany. Jair Alexander will not face his former team. That's unfortunate. Zay Jones won't return against the Seahawks, or didn't return Achilles. And then Terrion Arnold got concussed against the Commanders. Everybody had concussions. Jackson Dart, the 2 corners I just brought up, CJ Stroud. The Timberwolves checked in on John Morant for a trade. Teams may eye a Daniel Gafford trade. Nico Harrison firing a matter of time. NBA Insider said there's a strong likelihood that he doesn't finish the season. The Luka trade and them off to a slow start. I think he was fired when that trade happened, and Cooper Flagg was just lucky. And I hope the Mavs admit it. They better freaking admit it. For the first time in his career, Matthew Stafford has reached the 500 win percentage. That's crazy. That's because he was on all those bad Lions teams, and then the Rams were bad that one year with McVay. The year after they won the Super Bowl, they had the Super Bowl hangover year. And then Keenan Allen is the new franchise leader in receptions for the Chargers. That's pretty cool. Deron Payne suspended 1 game for punching Amon-Ra St. Brown on Sunday, so we won't see him in their next game. But yeah, Mavs ownership troubled by negativity surrounding franchise since the Luka trade. Of course. And if he doesn't get fired, ownership's going to admit, hey, we forced him to trade him. It's kind of like the Giants with Dayball and Shane with the Daniel Jones extension. Especially Shane. They kept Joe Shane because ownership paid Daniel Jones, not them. I've been saying that for a while. And they cut Daniel Jones because they admitted the mistake. Meaning John Mara. So this is kind of the opposite of that. Former NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue passes away at 84 from heart failure complicated by Parkinson's disease. That's really sad. Thoughts and prayers to his family and his former coworkers and friends. And Lenny Wilkens also passed away yesterday. The former NBA coach. So thoughts and prayers to his family and friends and former players and such. Tua likely staying with the Dolphins as they expect him to return to Miami next season. And that was reported before the game on Sunday. So I think he's the quarterback, big name quarterback. Him and Kyler Murray are the 2 big name quarterbacks to look out for. So how about this? Dallas's Micah trade condition as poison pill clause blocks Parsons from returning to the NFC East. So they did that so he wouldn't go to the Eagles. Or if he thought maybe the Giants were going to be good down the road too, or Washington. The Bills tried for big trades as they were a high bidder for Jalen Waddle, and also had Quinn Williams. I don't think those teams wanted to trade their stars in division. LSU benched Garrett Nussmeier as they opted for Michael Van Buren against Alabama. And in Florida, benched Lagway against Kentucky as they went to true freshman Tremel Jones Jr. And then Dave Roberts was supporting Alabama. That's interesting. I didn't realize he was a Bama fan. All right, so there you have it for the podcast. No best bet, like I said. So tomorrow, we'll recap everything, look at everything. Tomorrow, we'll also make the picks for the manager of the years tomorrow. So I hope you guys have a great day, everyone.